let's get started. I want you just to come to find somewhere to stand on your mat and let's get moving. So we've got a little bit of a calf challenge to begin with. So if you need to rest at any point, do so. And if you need a bit of support for balance, then just find yourself a wall or a chair or something like that. But we're going to bring our feet hip distance apart. Let's just start with a nice deep breath in. And breathe out. Super. And let's give that as ready to go. So we're going to float up onto the tiptoes, but this time we're going to hold that raise. Oh, you've lost my top of my head. And then we're going to slowly lower down. Same again. So floating up onto tiptoes. And then we're going to hold 3, 2, 1, and slowly down. Good. Keep it going. So slowly raise up. And hold, 3, 2, 1, slowly down. Good, keep it going. Just pop your hands on the brim of your pelvis for me. Just make sure that pelvis is resting nice and level. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed and your head is floating up to the ceiling. As if the piece of string is just lifting you up and then you're gently pulling down on it. Super. We're going to do the next ones with the hands up and overhead. So float the hands up and over. Think about what we were talking about last week about gently drawing your tummy to your spine, relaxing your rib cage down to your waist, shoulders melting down away from the ears. And we're going to hold the arms there and we're going to float up and hold. You stay there. Good, and slowly down. That might be better. Good, and again, slowly up and hold. 3, 2, 1, and down. Lovely. And again, keep it going. Slowly up with a hold. Watch those shoulders don't creep up to your ears as you come up. And then slowly down. Keep them going. I want you to work that pelvic floor at the same time. So as you lift up onto your heels, you're just going to gently squeeze through your back passage. Hold that squeeze and then release as you come down. Brilliant. Good stuff. 2 more. Same again. Let's just keep it nice and slow. Good. Now we're going to hold this one. This time we're going to bring one arm, sweep it round to the side and then up to the front. And then the other arm round to the side and up to the front. And then we can come back down again. Repeat again. So floating up onto tiptoes, the arm comes round to the side and then up through the front. And the opposite arm does the same. So those calves should be feeling super warm as you hold that position and sweep those arms round and down and then up and forwards. Good. Think about that gentle draw of your tummy and your pelvic floor at the same time. Breathing deeply as you go. We've got 2 more. You've done loads more than me and my calves already feel really, really warm. Good. We're going to have a good stretch for these calves in a moment. 1 more. Well done. Well done if you've managed to hold your balance throughout. Lovely. And then lower your heels down and lower your arms down after this next one. And just give those legs a little bit of a walk through. Okay, now I know we've worked the calves quite hard there, but I still want us to challenge them a little bit more. So a really nice opportunity to strengthen through the calves, into the Achilles, into the plantar fascia. So anybody who's got any ankle issues, this is going to be great for you. So we're going to raise up onto tiptoes again, hands on the hips, keep the heels lifted. We're just going to bend the knees and pulse 1, 2, 3, and then come back to stand and lower the heels. Okay, side on. So we lift the heels and then we pulse 1, 2, 3, back to stand, heels down. Lovely. Keep it going. So as we pulse into this little squat, your weight is going to come over your toes. So if you're really not happy with that, Then just keep the heels down and just pulse down into a squat. 2, 3, and back up. And as you pulse, you're not coming all the way back up again. Go as low as you can, and then end range of motion, and then push back to stand. Good. We've got 4 more like that. So heels up if you wish. Pulse 3, 2, 1. Lovely. And come back to stand. They look great, everyone. Watch those knees aren't caving into one another. They will pass over your toes if your heels are lifted. That's fine. We're going to really load up those anterior knees. Good for any anterior knee pain, any tendon issues at the front of the knees. You got a couple more. Hopefully your heart rate is up a little bit now as well. Good. Last one. 3, 2, 1. Keep the knees bent, but just drop the heels down. So we're in that little squat, and we're going to come to hundreds. So pulse those arms. Draw your lower tummy to your spine, and make sure your tailbone is tucked underneath. Keep pulsing with those arms, breathing nice and deeply. Now you can stay here and just work hundreds in standing, or you can shift your weight across to one side and see if you can bring the opposite foot off the floor. Keep that standing knee bent, bit of a balance challenge that you may or may not wish to try. Good, now swap over if you want to and try that on the other side. Otherwise, just stay on 2 feet and keep pulsing. Watch that standing knee. You can see mine swaying from side to side. Try and keep it steady. Then let's all come back to the center. Both feet down, sit a little bit deeper. Keep going. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We slowly come up to stand. Step your right leg forwards, leave your left leg behind, and let's stretch out into those calves. So we did this calf stretch last week. You've got your feet hip distance apart, but your heels and toes in line. Press down into that back heel and bend into that front knee. Keep your tail tucked underneath and keep that pressure nice and firm into that back heel. You shouldn't really feel like you need to bend that front knee too much. Just gently lean into it. 3, 2, 1. Let's swap over. So if your calves feel a little bit tight after doing that, you can carry out this stretch a little bit longer after class, or you can stand on the edge of your step, holding onto your rail or banister, and just slowly let your heels drop down until you get that sensation of a stretch through the back of your calf. A little while longer. 3, 2, 1, and then slowly step your feet back together again. Super. Okay, so we're going to come down onto the mat now. We're just going to do one roll down to take us there. So let's do a lovely slow roll down. Standing facing forwards on the length of your mat, and you'll see why in a moment. But when you're ready, begin to peel down through your spine. So the bones of your spine are just articulating over the top of one another. And if you need to, you can bend your knees so that you can comfortably bring your hands down onto the mat. But we'll just hang here in a forwards fold for a moment. Again, connecting in with those lovely deep breaths. And see if you can just gently start to lift your seat bones up to the ceiling and fold yourself deeper over those legs, either with the legs straight or slightly bent. Just join me for one more deep breath in. And as you breathe out, bend your knees and bring yourself down onto your mat into box position. So hands and knees. We're going to take this straight into our shell stretch. So you're just going to sit back into your heels and press your hands away from you along the floor. So nice opportunity just to stretch out the underside of those shoulders. We're going to work them in a moment. So again, just a couple more deep breaths as we're here. Opportunity just to be still for a moment. And then just slowly walk your hands back to you and bring yourself back to kneeling. And I'll show you what we're going to do from here. So we're going to work into a side stretch position. So you start off kneeling high. Now the aim is to keep the hips stacked over the knee as you stretch the opposite leg out to the side. The leg that's resting on the mat, use the same arm and reach down to the floor. Now if the floor feels like it's a long way away, you could rest on your coffee table, on your sofa, or you could prop yourself on your forearm, or if you want to come into that full position, you're going to be here. Now think about that hip. Can you stack it over your knee as you lean into your arm? Try not to lose that position. So really pushing through the heel of the hand, and then also just push your bottom forwards so that your pelvis is in line with your hip. And then from here, we take that top arm over and we create a nice line through the side of the body. So we've spoken lots about shoulders over the past few weeks. So don't lose the side of your neck into your shoulder. Push strongly away from your hand on the mat. Good stuff. And pause and breathe. Nice long line. Then we're going to take this top hand and we're going to twist. So we're twisting into our thread the needle. Look behind you, and then we open out into the chest. So the hand comes up towards the ceiling and we lift the heart upwards. Same again, through, around and under, breathing out when you get to the end, and then open up and lift that heart. All the while, be really strong through that arm that's taking your weight. Push the floor away from you. Keep twisting. Lovely. And after this next one, reach your hand back over again into that diagonal line. Now your options, we're going to start working this long leg now. So you can just hold this position here, or you can see if you can do tiny little lifts with that leg. So you're literally bringing that foot on and off the floor, maybe half an inch or so. There's your second option. Your third option is to lift the leg to hip height and then lower it back down again. Lift and lower, okay? So option one is just holding that position. Option two, little taps with the foot on the floor. Option three, lift and lower. Big pull now through the outside of that leg. Try not to collapse off that bottom hip though. We're trying to keep those hips stacked. We've got about 8 more of these, 8 counts down. Let me come and see how you're doing with those. 7, well done. 6, watch those heads aren't hanging down in desperation. Keep them in line with your body. 4, well done. These are tough. 3, 2, lift and hold wherever you are. Holding here, maybe here, or still here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done, everybody. Bend that knee, and then again, just push back into your shell stretch. They are super duper tough, especially if you suffer with your hips. So well done for giving those a go. Okay, now I'm determined to finish on time, so we're going to go straight into our press-ups from here. So bring yourself into your box position. We know what we're doing with press-ups now. Knees are bent, hip distance apart, the back of the neck is lifted, the shoulders are into our back pockets, our tailbone is tucked under. We're going to do the wide press-ups where the elbows travel towards, away from the body towards the side, lowering down, no bottoms in the air, keep those tails tucked underneath, and then we push away. So your options are really how low you go and how far over your hands you come. So I'm going to join in with you now. We're going to do 8 from now. So sorry if you've already started, but you get a few extra, which is good for you. 7, gently tighten your tummy toward your spine. 6, try and keep your feet gently pressed on the floor if you can, rather than letting them lift up. That was 5. Keep the back of the neck lifted. 4, 3, 2, challenge yourself, go a little bit lower on this last one, all the way down and all the way up, and then once more sit back to your heels. Well done. As we sit back here, let's twist through. So just passing your hand underneath the side of your body, resting your head on the floor if you can. And swap sides with that lovely twist and stretch. Marvellous. Okay, come back to the centre. Bring yourself back into that high kneeling position. And we're going to repeat that side sequence on the opposite arm. So you've got this opposite hip stacked over the knee now. You're going to reach towards your coffee table, the seat of your sofa, or maybe down to the floor, and stretch this top leg out away from you. Make sure that your hip is stacked over your knee and your pelvis is in line with your hip. So when you're getting tired with these, make sure these heads don't start to hang down. You want to keep that nose, breastbone and belly button roughly in line. Take that top hand over. Well done, everyone. Palm is facing down to the floor, and just pause there. Gently tighten your tummy. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, we take that hand and we pass it through and we thread the needle. That should feel like quite a tight twist. And then we come up and we open up towards the ceiling, and just let your gaze follow that movement. So you're just watching your hand as it travels round and underneath and opens up and out towards the ceiling. Good. Should we do that once more? Breathe in as you move and out as you reach. And again, in as you move, out as you reach. Then take that top hand, pass it over into that diagonal line. Option 1, we just hold and hover here. Option 2, little lifts with that top leg. Option 3, you want to go for it, see if you can get that leg up to hip height. Another way of making it a touch easier is to bend your knee slightly, but still lift with the outside of that leg. Okay, I'm going to come and see you on this side. Well done, Emma looks good, Helen looks good. Good. Isabel looking great. Just push away from your bottom leg a little bit so your hip, that's it, perfect now. Well done. Good work, Jill. Got you just at the rest. Good stuff, Tim. I know these are tough. Go for it. 2 more. 1 more. Lift and hold wherever you are. 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Super. Slowly come back, and we'll come back onto our backs from here and give our knees a little bit of a hug towards our chest. Well done. I don't do those that often. I think they're really good for what they need to achieve, but I know that they are very, very tough. Okay, just gently pausing as you hug your knees towards your chest, and then we'll set up for our final leg sequence, our tummy sequence to finish. So when you're ready, bring yourself into rest position. So your feet and knees are hip distance apart. Let's just gently rock on and off the pelvis. So you've got a sponge in the small of your back, and you're just gently pressing on and off that sponge. And then you're going to pause when you find a neutral position in that pelvic area. Now, I'll show you your 2 options here. Basically, just depends on whether you're in your single tabletop or a double tabletop. So option 1, you're going to float your left leg into tabletop. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, you're going to stretch that foot away. Now, the foot could be high. For more of a challenge, it could be low. And then we fold back to tabletop again. So it's just a nice 1 leg stretch. Now, when we're doing our 1 leg stretch, we're trying to avoid that lower back lifting off your sponge. So see if you can keep a gentle pressure of your lower back on your sponge. So this is your first option, and we do 6 stretches on this leg. We bring the foot down, and then we repeat with the opposite leg. Your second option is you're starting in double tabletop. 1 leg stays in tabletop and the other leg stretches away. Bigger load for the tummy to have to work with now. So only do this if you can comfortably keep that pressure on your sponge in the small of your back. It can feel like a challenge, but if your back's arching and you can't control it, just bring that second foot down and work with 1 leg at a time. And you could maybe make it harder by bringing your leg a little bit lower. If you're getting any clunking at the front of your hip, just don't take the foot quite so low. Let me come and see. Excuse me. Beautiful, Tim. Well done, Jill. I'm just going to tell everybody, make sure you're not pressing down into the mat beneath you. Nice light hands and relaxed shoulders. Good. And the leg that isn't moving needs to be really steady. So you've got a cup of tea resting on that non-moving leg. It's half term. It's a glass of wine. Let's be honest. Super. Okay, if you need to, you can rest and hug your knees towards your chest. Well done, everyone. Really good efforts there. We're still going to build on this sequence though. So I want you to come back into your tabletop, single or double, and we're all going to take our left leg and we're going to stretch it away and we're going to hold that position. Keep holding. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch the legs. Good. So you've got the opposite leg in tabletop. Stretch the right leg away. I think you were with. Yeah, good. And hold. 10, 9. Watch those tabletops aren't coming closer than your hip. 6, 5, 4, 3. Keep the pressure on your sponge. 2 and 1. Good. Knees come into your chest and gently give them a hug. Well done. Okay, we're still working on tummies and we're still working on these long legs. We're going to do some leg circles now. So either single tabletop, we stretch the leg away, we point the toe and we draw a circle on the wall in front of us. I can't remember what we did last week, but we did circles with legs. We're doing them in this position tonight. Okay, 6 circles in one direction, 6 circles in the opposite direction, or you can try that with your other leg in tabletop. But this is key now. You've got your most expensive antique heirloom glass on your non-moving leg. Don't let it rock from side to side as you draw those circles. So you're doing your 6 circles in one direction, your 6 circles in the other direction, and then you're going to change legs and do the same in the opposite side. Make your circles super small so you can really control that movement. So you can either be in a double tabletop or a single tabletop. Good, and you just swap from side to side, keep going, resting as you need to. Don't be surprised if you were finding the double tabletop was quite easy with the other ones and then it just feels a lot harder with this. Come down to a single tabletop, that's absolutely fine. I want you to be precise with your movements. Control that movement. Think about that knee that isn't moving. Are you holding it as steady as you can? Well done, everyone. Nice straight knees if you can. So really engage your upper thigh muscle. Point those toes. Good. Keep it going. Just keep swapping from side to side if you're still going. We're nearly there. Brilliant. Okay, I'll finish you off with 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Super. Hug those knees towards your chest. Okay, we're going to finish now with some abdominal crunches. Helen, you can either work in hundreds or you can do some roll downs depending on how your tummy feels with those. Okay, everybody else, we're going to interlace those fingers and we're going to support behind our heads. We're going to make sure we can see our elbows just in our peripheral gaze. We're going to draw the rib cage down towards the waist and float the head and shoulders off the mat. And then we're going to slowly smooth the spine back down again. So we spoke lots about how we're going to initiate that movement from the rib cage. Gently draw the tummy towards the spine at the same time if it helps to bring more awareness to your tummy. Your head and shoulders should feel like they float up, and all of this movement is coming from you tightening your ribs down towards your pelvis. Option, you can be in a double tabletop at the same time. Breathe out to bring you up and in to come back down. Lovely. That's great, Helen, well done. Beautiful. Okay, we're not here much longer, guys. So all I'm going to get you to do is change those lifts for a little bit of a pulse. So as we lift the head up, we're going to pulse 3, 2, 1, and back down again, just like we did in our warm-up. So we float up 3, 2, 1, and back down again. Good, and again, 3, 2, 1, and back down again. You're going to do 4 more cycles. Remember, you can have the feet down or up. 2, 1, and back down again. Keep going with those hundreds, Helen. 3, 2, 1. 2 more. 3, 2, 1, and down. Last one. 3, 2, 1. Slowly down, and let's all stretch our hands up to the top and our feet to the bottom of the mat, and see if we can separate our fingers from our toes and lengthen ourselves along our mat. Good, just slow your breathing down. Bring yourself back to those lovely deep breaths. And then let's do the opposite by hugging the knees towards the chest. Nice and tight like a ball. And you can rock side to side, forwards and backwards, or you can stay here for a little while longer. But then when you're ready, come to lie on your side. And then we'll slowly come back up to sit.